Hey, welcome back. All right. Uh, as I always say for these Thursday lectures, like I ought to be kind of short, and then I drone on forever, um, just because I'm so excited about design. Uh, let's jump in. All right. Something I just want to talk to you about because I'm pushing something off till next week. I was going to talk about today, but I want to talk about something else, and I'm going to figure out. And the first one is versioning. And when we work on projects and you work with a client, uh, and we do midweek review. Like you don't have to, but I highly suggest you do it. That's what like working with me or the client. And when you do a project and you send it to your client or your art director or boss, whatever that may be, there's going to be changes every single time. And then you're going to get it back, you're going to make changes, and you're going to send it back, and there's going to be changes again. I've never worked on a project where it's been accepted the first time around. Things change. The client has changes. Be like, oh, we want to feature this instead of that. Can you change that out? Alignment, like your art director will be like, this needs to look better. We need to emphasize this, So you're going to be getting it from both sides. And the more you get used to changes, and people say like, well, I did it, but it's what they're paying you to do is the best way to think about it. You have the skills. They don't, but they are also paying you to do something that they're requesting. It's a really fine line. And I know I've worked with some students here that argue with what the instructors may say. We're trying to teach you the fundamentals, and it may not be what you want, but if you're getting the fundamentals wrong, then you're not learning correctly to be able to start to adapt and change and become a better designer. And in the real world, more than once, many thousands of times in all the thousands, tens of thousands of designs I've done, it's gotten to the point where I'm like, well, this ain't going in my portfolio anymore because the client has changed it so much that it like to me doesn't make sense. But again, they're paying for it. I'm doing everything they ask, and you just kind of deal with it. So I want you guys to like understand that like with my changes I'm giving you changes that are based on design, based on my knowledge and all that kind of stuff. You can work with me and be like, well, I really want this. And I'll be like, okay, if you really want that, you need to adjust this and that. If you don't, if I make suggestions, you don't understand them, write me back. Because I'm typing these things out as fast as I can. I think there's 20 in this class, 20 in the art history class. Like I'm typing it out, trying to do screenshots. I want you to understand, and we can always do a video chat to make it more understandable as well. But get used to that. Like you are never one and done with a project. Ugh. I've had projects, 31, like think of one poster going back and forth with the client 30 sometimes. It's happened. I've had that happen. Each time somebody else looks at, oh, can you move this? Can you change that? It's something you're gonna have to get used to and know that's gonna happen in the future. Kind of on that note is expanding upon designs. So I gave you guys, we all know, let's hit student preview. And this will, now I'll get visual. Sorry, I hate when I kind of keep up that dumb screen. I'm not like Craig where I show off my face. The assignment. There's places where you can push the assignment as well, beyond what I gave you. I gave you, this is what I want to see. Here's here's the body copy. The dates are mentioned up here. And I mentioned, in class, or it needs to include the logos. It needs to include this. It needs to include that. And I give you the needs. You can always push beyond that. Push beyond those. And some people are adding some little graphic elements, graphic changes. Like I talked about, you created this lockup logo. It got approved. Let's say it got approved. Boom. And then you're using those elements to draw out more design. But you can bring in something extra. And I was thinking about that today with these, and there's one or two, and I was like, you see the poster, and like, yep, you sure as heck, you put in the 3 things I asked for. You put in the body copy, you put in the date, and you put in your logo, and you're done. And I was like, wow, okay, so nothing else goes in. You're allowed to like do other stuff. And one of those is like looking around and doing other things. Like I was like, oh, you could do something like this. So let's go to, I'm going to close that because I'm not teaching this now. I'm not going to do that. I'm going back to an old logo. You guys seen this. This is what I did last semester. I haven't had time to update because there's a lot of you in the class. Whatever. This is my old logo, right? Boom. That's my logo. So then I created my poster. Here's my poster. It's got elements from the logo integrated into the poster. I have like this blue thing that's based off of the little angle thing they use there. I have my dates. I have that. I have a product shot and product shots and, doing funky outlines, not just Plano, like I'm offsetting it. So it looks like it looks up here. It's got that offset blue. Great. Kind of in my mind, though, like this area could be jazzed up a little bit. Let's go to my layers. Look at this layer system I got going on. See? Design and layers, folks. It'll make your life and our life better. If I go, let's go to text. Turn on text. Like this area could what could I do? And I was like, you know what? There was nothing was said about imagery, hey? Nothing was said about imagery. But instead of just going and getting whatever for imagery, if I wanted to, and this is a quick sort of like one-off, like I don't know if I necessarily do this, but it came to my mind, is look at this. Under brand ambassador, they have all these college students, all these images, ton of images. And so you could be like, oh, let's take these. If I can right click, save image as, I'm just gonna take that one. It's a group of students, blah, 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 blah. And I'm gonna save it to the desktop, save. And I could easily, and I'm not saying everybody needs to do this. I'm not saying it's required for the piece, but this is where you kind of go above and beyond with that thinking of the design. And I'm gonna create a new layer. I would call it image. And then I'm gonna place that image. I hope it places. It's not gonna place. File, because it's probably something stupid. File, place. Oh, it should place PNG. I have it on, and the reason we're not seeing it is I have it on display and not on work. So I'm gonna go here, go to normal view, and then I'm just gonna simply what if I just do this? And I would do this. I'm doing the lame version. Please, you do a better version. Okay, I'm doing the quick lame version. I'm just gonna draw, a big rectangle around it. Go to properties, get that fill, put it to white. Go to object, arrange, send it back. Then these always have this thing on them. The squeeze pouch. I don't know if you know, Polaroid always has this lower part. That's where the chemicals are held. It's always good when you're recreating something to use visual reference and kind of know why something is there. I talk about that a lot, but it's really important because if you do a false version of something and you make it up in your head, people will call you out on the internet on your design, and you will be like, oh my God, I wish I could bury myself. And I thought it was correct. And they're like, no, if you're not in the know about that one little thing, you'll hear about it. Used to have podcasts. I don't think I do the podcast anymore. This is a lame version, and but I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna group that, and I'm gonna go minus, and then be oh, I can set this here, and then add it in, and be oh, no, wrong thing. I can do the rotate. Sorry, we'll come back to that. I can do the rotate, but you want this tool. This is the amazing. I got to start learning the E. All I have to do is click E and it'll work. Because then you can resize that thing. But adding a little something like that. I put 3 Polaroids at the bottom. How fun is that? It just kind of jazzes it up a little bit, changes the, it shows the students, it brings them into it. It's a doable thing. Was it required? No, but it's just a little bit extra thinking. Oh, I wish this, I wish my poster had a little bit more personality or something like that. And that's the other part I want to talk about is you're getting to getting to design whatever you want and whatever's in your head. And there's really sort of no restrictions to that. So push the design and do what's in your head and do it. You know, like whatever it takes, get it. But again, push it. Like if you stop at like, you know, here, I'll take out the halftone, take out the angle, and I'll take out the image. Like if that's where your brain stops, like, oh, you're going to get passed up by a lot of people in the design world. You know, like, oh, yeah, okay. The person was able, they placed the logo, some images and text on a white background, and we're done. But if you really push it further, oh, there's a good one. Look, that's my drawing that I started with. But if you push it and keep trying new things, like then you get to this point and you can see, you know, anything in your mind is possible with these programs. Combining all three, doing different things. You got to show off what you got with the design. So this is my poster. I sadly was not able to find my flyer. I did do a flyer. I was working in a different room, and then we changed rooms, and then there was a flood in the room I'm in from the floor above, and it destroyed a ton of stuff. And so a bunch of files that were on computers are no longer available. But like, so then we start with there. So, you know, it's all about pushing your design. So again, this is my original logo. And then I wanted to show you guys some other things. So this is my poster, and I'd probably add like maybe 2 more. I don't know. I'm pointing with my finger. You guys can't see it. I'd probably add like 2 more Polaroids here. I think it looks cool. You know, and it adds a little life to it. Shows you know who's drinking it. That's fun. You have Instagram, right? Well, you have your flyer, and your flyer should be kind of a copy of this, and then, you know, smaller size. A lot of people didn't doing a twist on it. Do that, great, you know, but it, you know, it should look like almost side by side, that you should be like, oh yeah, I see that the comparison of the two. Then I go to Instagram, and my Instagram posts are going to be, one is going to be simple. All right. Just, I want the logo, and we're just going to put that up on the Bubblers, you know, Instagram, and it can flash in and out once in a while. Great. We got that one. Then I move over, and then I have another one that now includes a little product shot and when it is, and then just one sentence. I took one sentence out of all the sentences I gave you and developed this other Instagram, and then another kind of Instagram one. And they're all like basically using the same elements, so they're recognizable, but I made them so they're all different. Something happened here. This box is wrong. What the hell happened there? Again, these were found, and then when I imported them, I just said, don't do anything. So very funny. I got to correct all that. But yeah, no, this would have that proper box around it. This box it found a different box, whatever. But like, that's what it is. Like, each one is different, but each one clearly shows like there's a little something going on. What's it about? And then, you know, because you can always type into the Instagram, so not all the information needs to be there. So play around. But this is what we call, you know, consistency within the design, within your brand. You are creating a brand, and this is Brand and Media Strategies. You are creating a brand around a sweepstakes for the most part. It's not necessarily sweepstakes, but, you know, a giveaway. So you're creating a brand giveaway. All your items should look exactly the same for your brand giveaway, and carry through. And elements should carry through from one to the other to the other. So that's what we're talking about. And then finally, let's get this big again. Here's my Vespa. I'm gonna have a bunch of like college kids riding around on Vespas. You know, got a backpack full of a bunch of drinks, you know, sitting on there, cruising around. They'd probably be in a special uniform, you know, they got a cool branded helmet. You know, you gotta, you know, part of the design and part of the design process is putting yourself in the situation of who it's going for and like what's doing. You will learn more about this. I think Kate, I don't know if Kate teaches it in the graphic design classes, but Jackie will teach it in the integrated design class. I forget the name of it, but about personas, and you're putting yourself in the situation, and like I sort of like act these things out, like just like I said, like off the cuff, like yeah. So they got a Vespa, and they're gonna be in a cool uniform. It's gonna maybe like match, maybe like they'll be in like magenta pants and a cyan top, you know. So it like matches that, and then their helmet, and the helmet's gonna be looking all cool. You know, like maybe it'll have like the logo on the helmet or something, but maybe not the logo, but maybe just bubbler on the helmet. And then, you know, we got this little small Don't Burst My. They'll be wearing backpacks, and so they'll have a backpack on, and it'll match, you know, everything else, because this can all be done. I've done this work. I've done brand ambassador, like clothing, everything. And until they'll be, you know, cruising around on their little moped, and like this is my design. It shows the colors. It shows where our logo is going to go. You know, I didn't do the top and the back within this. I could easily just transfer this and color it up and make sure they knew what was happening. But we get a good representation of what it's going to look like from this. So this is, you know, something I did. But it's all, again, based on that brand that I developed from the logo. Everything is based off the logo. Dot made, you know, the half toning and all that kind of stuff. So as you work through these, one, if you're not very far along with your poster or flyer and you want to accentuate and be like, oh, you know, I was thinking about adding this. Don't add stuff that's not on brand though. Now that I say that, like they have on brand, when you look, this is all on brand. Don't don't think like, oh, they have an apple and so I'm going to draw my own apple. Does that make sense? Like, don't change what they have, but you can accentuate it with imagery and their colors and their fonts, but don't go like make up your own stuff for them. Like, oh, I didn't want to trace this, so I just went in Illustrator and said, make me an orange, and it's like a totally different orange. That's what I'm talking about. But look at this. This is probably like, what is this going to do? I'm going to bring that in. Okay, I just pull it to the side. This is the stuff you should just try to do. Because back in the day, before companies knew anything about design, but now it's like such a graphic design is like so integrated into life now, and everybody knows what a font is. I worked at a time when you'd say, you know, a font, and people would be like, what do you mean? Because we would like ask companies like, we'd ask the marketers for the font for you know, the company font, and they'd be like, what do you mean? And we'd have to go like, okay, you get us in touch with who created the work? And they're like, oh yeah, maybe. And it was always a pain in the butt. And then 90% of the time back in the day, we would get a JPEG for the logo, and we'd have to hand redo the logo into vector. And it's just like doing this. And that was before you could do this. I'm going to click down, image trace. What is this, 4 colors? Let's do 6 color. Oh, that turned out really well. It doesn't always turn out well. It turns out well when it's super high res and big. This is 4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to expand it. Then I'm going to click on the white, and I clicked on the white with the direct select tool. I'll show you. Click off, click on the white with the direct select tool, then go to select and same, and then fill and stroke. And it's should take all the white and delete it all. It didn't get the white from the berries, but that's maybe fine. And I'm going to make a new layer. But then you know, like that's how you get these in to your design without them looking like crap. Instead of just placing the JPEG or PNG, it took me a minute, 2 minutes to do this. This is one of those things where like You can do it quick or you can do it right. Ah, look at that. That's perfect. And they're vector. So I'll go back up to that. Look at that. It's vector. It's really smooth. It's not messed up. Perfect. So try that once in a while too. Again, it's got to be large. It's got to be big. The bubbler happens to have some really good larger assets. I think I did it. I'm going to do one more for you because I know some people were placing this, and I was always like, give it a shot. Try it. I'm going to go back to the internet. Let's do Summerfest. I want the new one. I want images, tools. I hate that they move tools and now it pops up down here. Size, large. This is the one we want. Oh, 1400. So save image as. Right on my desktop. That's fine. Save. File. Place. Desktop. Or fast slide place. Oh, look at how big that is. See, that's going to be great. I'm holding down Shift. I'm holding down Option. I'm holding down Command. That's how I get it to scale from center in. That's nice and sharp. So I'll do a 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's going to be 3 color. So I'm going to set my image trace to 3 colors. It smooths some things out. It's not exactly perfect. I'm not going to use this lower part anyway, so that's fine. So I can expand that. And then what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to direct select up from the bottom and just hit delete, delete. And then I have my Summerfest logo, which is now, infinitely scalable. I'll have to pop that out. Always look for the stuff like that. Like if I hit delete, delete, it is not like, oh, look at that. It's got a white background. There you go. I just raised that out of there, and now we're good. So make sure you do that when you can. It's got to be high res. It's got to be big enough, but this will work. And working with vector over images and doing stuff is going to turn out 1,000 times better than placing a PNG and moving that around. And I'm being like, my PNG doesn't have a transparent background, and I took it into Photoshop, and now it has a white fuzzy background. So, yeah, that's it for me. Any questions, comments, or concerns? What's up?
Hi, I had a question for the vector that you use, like for example, for the Vespa. Is there a tool that I can use to kind of just trace over that that template? Because when sorry, go ahead.
No, finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say when I like color over it or put something, I know mine just goes over the picture, and I want to know how to do it underneath it without going completely underneath the white.
All right, here's how. Thank you. That's a great question. Here's my Vespa. I have it on 2 layers. All right. So I have it on my lowest layer. Okay. Then I made a copy of that and I put it on the upper layer. And on the upper layer, the image, let's grab it. Let me unlock it. And under properties, it should be, okay. When I go to opacity, I have it on multiply. As easy as that. Does that make sense? Like I'm just making the white transparent, and then so everything underneath shows up.
Okay, thank you.
It's like it's a dirty trick, and then you can see where I drew white. I think I have white out. So if I take the it's down and dirty. Like I put in big color things, and then with white, I'll show you. I just do a really rough pen tool around it. Let me grab it. Come on. There we go. See? It's just these weird parts. And I just traced around it real quick. And it's just, I call it whiteout. I'm a big user of like just blocking things out with white when need be, instead of like going through and like doing a proper mask, because you don't see it here. So it's a multiplied of the original image, so the wheels can show up, and then the images can show up, and then I have, just my giant color bars, and that's what it looks like when I don't have the whiteout. I call it whiteout. It's dark. Oh, I darkened up the seat and the floorboards. I didn't realize I did that too. It's little accents, so then the seat doesn't look like it's white, though that might be red. You might like saw, and I think I was like, oh, you can gray out the tires, just make all that gray, so it's not showing up so much. So that's what I did there. Thanks for asking.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, cool. Well, you know how to get a hold of me. I'm more than happy to chat, do whatever, answer your questions. However, if you don't understand stuff, keep pushing those designs. Figure out how to get what's in your head onto the page. I also follow all design rules, and yeah, have some fun. All right, I'll talk to you. If I don't talk to you on the discussion boards, I will talk to you on Tuesday. All right, take care. Bye.